in life, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what people think of you. And everything is up to you, whether people don't believe in you, or whether you are from whatever circumstance that you might be coming from. Uh, Success is up to you. If you want to get to matric and just get to matric and don't pass, that's what's going to happen, because that's your goal and the goal that you're setting for yourself. And if you want to pass your matric with bachelor, and that's what's going to happen.
Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Malomane, and this is my journey to greatness. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I humbly apologize for the background sound, for the quality of the video. Please bear with us. But yeah, we're making this happen, and we are here with quality content. So in today's episode, I have the mighty Dr. Ndaba. And who is here today joining us? I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about his episode, and finally it is here. We are making it happen for you guys, and I hope that we'll all learn something from this. Hi, Emma.
Yobo, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm great. I'm happy to be part of this series. Finally.
After how many attempts?
Yeah, the connection wasn't proper, but otherwise, I'm glad you are here.
Yes. So guys, please bear with us in terms of connections. Like, we're probably recording this for the fourth time. But yeah, I believe we will record until the end. So Emma, tell us about yourself, like where you come from, your background, and things like that.
Yo, that's a broad question. Where I come from isn't like where I was born, where I
Yes.
was raised.
Yes.
All right. So I come from Limpopo, Polokwane town, Ga-Mashashane, Jupiter village. So yeah, that's where I come from. Yeah, I was born there. Went to primary, went to high school there at home, and yeah, that's where I come from. Yeah, so yeah, I think.
Okay, and then high school. Like, how was your high school like? What subjects did you take in high school?
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting one. So the school that I went to at the time, it was only like I think it was from grade 10, right? Yeah, it was only the accounting stream and the science stream. So we didn't have like a mixed stream and what other people are doing, in other schools. So we only had like we had to do, like I did physics, I did mathematics, and I did geography. I think life science, I did life science, and the rest, English, life orientation. Yeah, it's been ages. It's been ages. Yeah,
It
but
did ages. So now I want us to talk about you deciding to go to varsity. How was that like for you? Did you know what you wanted to study? Did you know which university to go to? Like, what was that experience for you?
so if I'm to take you a little bit back, um, just into the background, just briefly, not so much.
Mm.
Um, I never thought I would go to the university. Um, yeah, like I lived my high school, or early years of my high school, not believing that like I would go to university one day. I was just going to school, to be quite honest. We just go to school.
Like, why was that?
uh,
Like, was it because you weren't doing well at school, or is it the environment that you were born in? What was that?
For lack of a better word, I would say both.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. For lack of a better word, I would say both. Uh, More for motivation itself, and motivation is a product of both. Things that you spoke about. Motivation and discipline, of course. So I did not believe. I did not believe that like Ndaba, I would go to university. No, that was like, no, that was way above my league, at that time. So yeah, like, again, is the environment that you grew up in, the people that you look up to at that time. Yeah, and for me, but I wasn't doing well. Like, I wasn't doing
Like, what
well
do you
in
mean not
school.
doing well?
Never failed. I never like failed a year per se, but there were tests that I was failing. There were tests that I would like take. I think pass mark was 30 at that time, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass mark was. So some tests I would take 30 something. Probably some I would even fail.
Sure.
Um, that was like grade 8, grade 9, there, grade 10 as well. You know, yeah, like lack of motivation, like there was no drive, there was no that thing and
So
stuff
you
like
weren't
that.
studying. It's not because you were not capable. You were just not studying.
Yeah, there was just no energy to study, or like, yeah, there was like nothing. Things that took priority at that time was like soccer. You go to class, it's Monday, you talk about soccer the whole day. When the teacher comes, you get annoyed.
So when did things change, Emma? Like, at what point
All
did you
right.
now get to?
So for me, was never perceived as this person, a great person, someone whom they can send someone to go and motivate and inspire and stuff like that. So I think it was more about finding your root, like finding something like you're gonna bring a value in the community itself, or it's not. It was not even about bringing a value. It was about being identified as this individual, because I was like with not doing much essentially, um, and I couldn't get much done. I mean, yeah, I couldn't get much done because I was just, for lack of a better word, I would say less than average, in the community. So I couldn't get many things like that. I wish I would get at that age. Yeah, not to go into detail about that, but otherwise, yeah, you get the impression that I'm trying to make.
Oh, like
Another thing is
down.
that there was a guy who was at the University of Johannesburg. So I think he was doing engineering at that time. So the guy was studying engineering at UJ. So he came to our school to teach us mathematics at that time. I remember we were doing simultaneous equations. Yeah, and yeah, they were quite difficult at that time. Yeah, so there were, I think we were 3 in class. Yeah, after the tutorial and everything, I was with my old friends there. Then they asked me, Ndaba, how are you going to pass your matric? And that was a heavy question. It was very, very difficult question that I had to answer. And my answer reflected the confidence and the circumstance that I was in quite a lot. Because my answer was like, you know what, as long as I can just get into matric, and I was honest, and I was going to be happy, you know. Um, you know, back in the days, I was going to be happy because it was considered as a success. Well, at least to me, and to some extent, uh, even in the community, like for me to get to matric, it was going to be something. Um, yeah, then he just said, in life, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what people think of you. And everything is up to you. whether people don't believe in you, or whether you are from whatever circumstance that you might be coming from. Success is up to you. If you wanna get to matric and just get to matric and don't pass, that's what's gonna happen. Because that's your goal and the goal that you're setting for yourself. And if you wanna pass your matric with bachelor, and that's what's gonna happen. But it took me time, to be honest, because I had to think about it. It was late grade 10. I had to think about it the whole of December. Then, like I said again, the issue of finding identity in the community, something that I'll be good at, something that at least people will respect me, when they meet me on the street, at least. Then I stumbled across the scientist. I stumbled across the scientists and I got interested.
What do you mean you stumbled across? Sorry. What do you mean you stumbled across the scientists?
I stumbled across like icons, reading about the scientists, like what they've done. Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, Galileo, the icons of science. I was reading about them, on Google and whatever that I can, wherever I could read.
Okay, before you continue, Emma, what made you to research about the scientists?
All right, so like I said, it was about finding identity, finding something that I can be recognized, in the community. I remember I was young, I was 8 years, it was about, I need to be good at something. And I tried everything. I got discriminated in so many things.
Sorry,
I wanted to be good at something.
Just for interest's sake, what are some of the things that you were discriminated against? Because this thing is like, it is too personal.
Oh my God, no. I didn't want to share exactly those, but
no, you don't need to go into detail.
Going to soccer, people would mock me, like sometimes they use like those ways that will crush you down, like for example, Ndaba. They used to call me Ndaba, by the way, and that's Ndaba. It's ND. It's not NT. They used to call me NT, and that's like that would annoy me so much. Like people would use such things, to pull you down. Like they would say, like, in your family, whoever played soccer, as if like soccer is something genetic. Like there's that notion at home that because your father, because your brothers were good in soccer, then automatically you can be good, so it was along those lines, as I'm using soccer as an example, but there were other things that actually happened and stuff like that. So
like what, like now sort of
amongst other things, yes, amongst other things, like it was a lot of things that actually took place, and then I had to find myself. I wanted to do something that I'll feel good about myself, something that I'll be appreciated in the community as well. Like, okay, that's Ndaba there, not Ndaba, that's Ndaba. Like I had to do so much, for lack of a better word, financial circumstances as well. I think they played a huge role, how you are in the society, how you are treated on the street and all that. So to some extent, that actually also played a role in terms of how you are perceived on the street, So I wanted to find myself. And after that guy, what he told me is that I have to believe in what I think I can do, and I have to go and work for it and go for it. Then that's why I chose science. Like it was a conscious decision that, okay, it was around December of 2010, when I was doing grade 10. I took a conscious decision. I said, you know what? I need to be good at something in my life. And I need to pass matric. Now I need to pass matric. Let me love science. And it was a conscious decision. Let me love science. I took that conscious decision. Let me love science, then that's where I started reading about the icons of science, people that contributed in the science field, physics guys, chemistry, and life sciences at that time. Those were the things that I knew. So I'll read about Albert Einstein, but I didn't know much about him at that time. Isaac Newton was a famous guy, of course, at that time. Galileo, I was reading about Galileo, and and Gregor Mendel, Gregor Mendel, of course, Gregor Mendel as well. So I'll read about them, and it was very interesting. Then I started developing love for science. Then I started grade 11. Then in grade 11, that's where I started to put more work. I moved from, I was sitting not at the back, like traveling. I was not traveling at school. I was just that guy, that guy in the middle of the class, not at the back, but in the middle of the class.
Like invisible, so.
Exactly, like I was that guy, like not so much, I wouldn't make noise. I wouldn't be playing like crazy, like that. So, but I moved now. I moved I was sitting in front of the class now with other two girls that we shared a class. They were key, very key. Then I started working. I started reading. I would read. I'd be at school alone. I would be at school alone. Like in the afternoon, I'd be alone. Read, because there was so much catching up to do. Like I had to catch up because I was playing. Remember grade 8, grade 9, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. It's important, for grade 12. It's important. So you get those basics and stuff. So I had to read a lot. Like I would stay at school until 5, maybe the school even 6 sometimes, and most people went home around 2, 2:30. People would go home. Then I would wait maybe until around 6. And I would, like where I was schooling, it's far. It's actually like a distance. It's far. I don't know how many kilometers. It's another village. So I can say. So you would have to cross the bush, and it's a main road. Then you go to another community and stuff like that. Then but otherwise grade 11, that's where I started working hard as much as I could. I gave my best, man. I gave my best. Then my marks went up, then I started improving in grade 11. I think I passed with bachelor, not like those passes, in grade 11. Then grade 12, I was just on my game, just pushing, just eating. So I was now in the community. I was a different person. I was perceived as a different person now. Like, okay, this guy is good, with science, physical science, stuff like that. So those kind of things. I think that's what pushed me to transform at that age, into the person. And now when I look back, I'm very grateful that I had to actually go through what I went through so that I can at least find myself. And I feel privileged, or lucky.
I just want to get there, Emma. You said something that it's like ever since you just kept talking, but it remains stuck in my mind, which is the fact that you chose to love science. And I think I just want to
Yes.
everyone who's watching this, just to put the message across to you guys that so many of us are out there. We're trying to find our passion. We're trying to find what we're good at. Yes, then we're just trying, Jay. And you find that you've tried so many different things and there's nothing actually that stands out for you. There are some people that are actually fortunate enough that there's something in their life that actually stands out for them. Maybe they're good runners or they're good at soccer, like Emma's friends. But if there is something that you've tried and you can't find something, I think make a decision that this is the path that I want to take and work hard on that. Because from Emma not knowing, not even knowing if he's gonna pass matric to now being a doctor, like a medical doctor, should have said this in the beginning. But I think it's truly inspirational. It's really truly inspirational about the decisions that we take as people and where they can actually lead us to. You decide that this is the life that I want, this is the road that I'm taking, and you went in there and you succeeded. So I'll continue from there.
Yes. Yeah, and what you just mentioned, yes, I just chose science, and from there it worked magic. It worked magics. I from there I just flew. The rest is history. I've since that day I've just loved science. Together at the University of Limpopo. Yeah, and I've just been that person who is viewed differently since then, since grade 11 or since grade 10. I've been viewed differently everywhere I go, because I took a conscious decision of loving something, and that choice that I took, it went more than the objective itself. It went more than the test that I had to write on a daily basis. I don't know how I can put this. When I was in university, for example, okay, let me just say from grade 12, I went to University of Limpopo. That's when we met. I did medical sciences for 4 years. Even at the university level, what I found myself doing was going deeper than what is expected of me. Like science to me since that day became something so big, like something so huge. Even when I'm taught this, I have a drive to go and know more about this. And it has always been beyond the objective, beyond the scope, the test scope. It has always been beyond the mark. We're in the same class. I wasn't, I wasn't like top student
and I just want to say this, Neema.
No, I wasn't like that.
You were not the top student in our class, but you were pretty much in there, but you were not the top. But there was still something. I would rather come and ask you something than go to a top student. That's how it was.
Yes.
You knew more about everything. You might not get all the marks, but you would always know more about something.
So the reason for that, yes, I got many people coming to me asking me questions. I've been involved in tutoring this subject, and the reason for that was the science decision that I took back in the days. When I read something about pathology, whatever that it's in front of, I would go in detail. And most of the time when I read about science or whatever that I'm presented with, it's more real. I don't know how to express this, but it was more real, more I would go inside the topic. I would go and read the topic and find it very interesting. There were times where I would dream about things that I read. On a serious note, I remember there was a time I got a nickname It was in first year at the University of Limpopo in 2013. We were reading. I was his child. So we were studying together that night and stuff like that. We slept, we were writing the following day. What happened is that when I was asleep, right, I was dreaming about something that I read, right? and they had me, and I was sleeping, and I was talking about microtubules. I would name my other things like my email and stuff like that. I would say microtubule something. So that's where actually the name came from. I dreamt about that structure, that molecule, and then I spoke about it.
I
I spoke about it. Yes, I was just talking like, okay, microtubule is it's a cytoskeleton of the cell, this and this and
like you was
then it was a funny scene. Like it was fun.
You are like so passionate about education. And I feel like now we're moving a little bit fast, but at the same time, I'm really enjoying like your story and how your passion, a passion that you chose for yourself, which is so powerful to me. Like it is, because not everyone actually finds their passion like that. A passion that you took, you chose, and you went for it. And now I want to find out about getting into medical science from your side, because I know a lot of science students. Shout out to you guys. From you, and actually want to hear, how did you get into medical science?
All right. Oh, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Incident.
Yeah.
At the University of Limpopo, I think at that time I had applied to social work. I had my student number. I had, I had that provisional letter. Not acceptance, but that provisional letter. And I had also applied to University of Pretoria at that time. So I immediately after getting my results, I went to University of Pretoria after getting your results, you go and check the bursaries and all that. So I had applied for education at University of Pretoria. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was intermediate phase. I was supposed to teach natural sciences, in high school, primary high school, somewhere there. I went there. I got the forms, the Funza Lushaka forms. Then I came back home. I was supposed to go to register and stuff like that. Then I had to think. I had to think a lot. Okay, because don't forget, me, it was all about science. Like I enjoyed physics. I enjoyed, anything that has to do with science. So then I came to University of Limpopo with the student number. Because I had a student number, then I got in. Then I went to different departments. I went to chemistry. I think I went to zoo, to medical science department. Then I would put my name, because the reason was because it was science. Remember, I was still there. I was still young. I mean, from high school, I mean, I made it to university. Wow, that was a world to me. Like, remember, the plan was just to get to matric. Now I passed matric with bachelor, and oh my God, I can actually go to university. With my result, I can go to university. Then I went to medical science department. And there was a waiting list. Then I listed my name on the waiting list, together with chemistry as well. I think I listed my name there. And then that's how I got into medical science. I went through the medical.
Did you know about medical science?
I did not. Okay, this is how I choose medical science. I walked in the corridor, right? I walked in the corridor, and I saw those names. Oh man, those names were just everything to me. Like I saw medical biochemistry, I saw immunology, I saw medical microbiology. I said, you know what? I'm on the right place. Like, science. For me, the only fascinating thing was just science. I was like, medical microbiology, then it means it's medical and microorganisms. This is going to be amazing. It's biochemistry, it's science. For me, at that time, it was science excitement. Like, this is it. I'm going to be doing science. Then that's how I took medical science.
Wow.
For me, it was not about where am I going to work, how am I going to work. Uh, it's the idea that I'm not going to do something that I don't like. Like, for example, having to go and do social work was going to be a strain on my side. Like, it was going to be very, very hard because, what brought me where I am at that time, or where I was science itself. Then now to abandon science altogether and do something that is different and stuff was going to be like difficult for me.
But what was sorry, Emma, but why did you choose social work in the first place?
So you see, you're in high school, you're applying. Okay, you're in high school, you're applying, and you're using. I think I was using grade 11 results. For most part, it's not like informed about. Well, then it's not like I was informed about science stream, medicine. I knew about education. I knew about nursing. Things like engineering, things like medicine, they were way above, my league at that time. I was, okay, these are like those, like, so for me, those are the things. Even the people that we knew in the community, because that guy who was at UJ only came once in our school, like he never came back, and we didn't know much about him. And most people that we knew from our sphere were either doing education and nursing at university. So, and we were supposed to teach us as well at home. That's what we knew about, and social workers as well. So that's those are the things that at that time I just knew that, okay, if I apply for this one, I'm going to get a job. That was the main driving force. But as when I was going through matric and stuff like that, I realized that, okay, this is what I enjoy in my life, and this is what is going to take me somewhere. So it was more about that part than. So the reason why I chose medical science, or why I ended up in medical science, was more about, this is science, this is in alignment with what I enjoy in my life, what I want to do. So yeah, it was never about what's going to happen next. It was about.
Yeah, I get that part, but I want to find out, like, so you never didn't you think to yourself, okay, like, I'm doing this, what's going to happen after that? For you, it was just like, I'm doing this. Didn't you think about, okay, what happens when I'm done, or anything like that? Like, what am I going to become? You didn't have all that. It was just about now moment. I'm enjoying what I want. I'm doing it. You didn't care about anything else.
All right. So again, from a science point of view, right? This is going to sound like extreme, okay? From a science point of view, I would always think I'm going to do something amazing.
Wow. I like
there's just that there's just that personal drive from a science point of view, that I'm going to bring something into the science community, one way or the other. I got into medical science, I'm going to bring something into the medical science community itself. Done. That was it. Being a researcher, that was like best career for me. So for me, it was writing papers and stuff. So there was never a moment where it was like, okay, from medical science, options, you'd go to the lab, you'd go and work at NHLS, for example, as a scientist. And for me, that has never crossed my mind, to be quite honest. It never crossed my mind.
And like, as strange as it might sound, I actually believe you that has never crossed your mind, because of the way that you do things, like, and your desires in life. Like, I know that you have a dream. I don't know if I should actually expose it, to go to Oxford. Still one of your dreams, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, for me, it's like, you having that dream, it's like, that's where you're going, you know. But then, like, can we talk about money just a bit? Like, didn't you want to know that at some point, did you want to have money, buy a car, buy yourself a house, you know, travel, do the nice things that educated people do?
Hey guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt your viewing. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please look out for part 2 of my journey to greatness with Dr. Ima, which will be posted tomorrow. See you then. Bye.